The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now, from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here are your hosts of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard and Taylor Welch.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for October 30th, 2025. It is the day before Halloween. This is season 15, episode number 15, and episode number 529 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. Hello, everyone. I am Bob Howard, and she is
Taylor Welch.
And Taylor, how was my Halloween intro? Was that good?
It was good. I'm impressed.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's very interesting because we do have, I think, probably the most anticipated weekend set of games for the Binghamton Black Bears. You and I have been talking about this off and on now for a few days about this series against the Port Huron Prowlers. And I really do think this is the first true test for the Black Bears this season.
I think I've been talking about it since before our last game with Watertown, to be honest. I was sending you stuff before that game was even over, I'm pretty sure. I think Port Huron so far has the best chances in our division as far as being, competitive against us. Mm-hmm. They seem to be, playing a very different style of game compared to us. So it'll definitely be an interesting series nonetheless.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very interested to see how this goes. It almost feels like we need to see the first 5 or 10 minutes of the game to know if it's going to fall in the lines of what Binghamton has played so far this year, or if it's going to play in the realm of what Port Huron has done this year so far, right? Because Binghamton games have been low penalty minutes. I think Watertown had one game where they had 10 or 11, penalties and gave us a bunch of power plays. But otherwise, it's been kind of low scoring, and the type of penalties that have come across the board haven't been the same as Port Huron, who's been more physical, who's been more aggressive. They've got an aggressor penalty and things of that nature. It'll be interesting to see in the first 10 minutes, do we get a Binghamton Black Bears style hockey game, or do we get a Port Huron Prowlers style hockey game?
Yeah, and honestly, the first minute could probably tell you some of it, because as long as Port Huron doesn't come out trying to fight you in the first minute, we might get the Binghamton style, as long as Binghamton doesn't want to answer to any of the Prowlers' antics.
All right. The Power Play Post Show is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. Yesterday, we hit 1,000 members. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate everybody joining, liking the post, leaving comments, sometimes even sharing off of my PPPShow Bob entity or page or whatever you want to call it. Thank you so much for getting us to 1,000. Now we just got to get another 1,000 members in the group. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey, visit binghamtonhockey.net. Coming up on this episode of the Power Play Post Show from the Binghamton Black Bears, we're going to talk to Dan Wieber. I'm talking to him about playing with Dan Stone, talk about the upcoming Port Huron Prowlers, series. And we're also going to we've got 2 interviews for you today. This is a mega show because we got the Port Huron Prowlers series here, and we're excited about it. We've got the broadcaster from the Port Huron Prowlers, Will Wiegelman, here on the show. So a great show. And it's always fun to talk to Dan and get Dan on the show. He is a very down-to-earth Midwestern boy who is easy to talk to, can tell a pretty good story, and it's just kind of really fun to have him on. And I basically professed my love to his father on the show. Basically, it's just saying how much I really do love Rick Wieber. Him and Stephen McAnanama are two of the best that I get to kind of talk to. I know you definitely agree with McAnanama. We've all become really good friends.
Yeah, Steve is it's kind of weird to say, like, you guys are like becoming really, really close friends of mine just because, there is an age difference, not to make you feel old or anything.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No, it's great. Great.
I've only had the chance of talking to Rick Wieber, I think, once or twice. And the first time I ever got to talk to him, he basically just told me that he had spent the last month complaining to you about the refs. So it was an interesting conversation.
Yeah. There was that conversation. He thinks I'm too soft on everybody that plays with the Black Bears and the referees. But I love Rick. He's a great guy. So really good stuff. All right, let's start talking a little bit about the roster, because the roster is obviously the other big news this week. And I know it's been something we've talked about a lot, but I think it's still something that we need to help make clearer for everybody. All right, so breaking down the roster again and the changes that the Black Bears have done. The Binghamton Black Bears traded Cody Rumsey to the Baton Rouge Zydeco in exchange for financial considerations. In 2 games for the Black Bears, Cody did not register a point. This is the 4th player to be traded for financial considerations, as Luke Dobles, Darian Benchik, and Sergei Sherbakov this season has also been traded for financial considerations.
The Binghamton Black Bears announced on Tuesday the signing of right-handed forward Matthew Gilbert. Gilbert will join the team ahead of the Empire Division Finals rematch against the Port Huron Prowlers. Gilbert is a 26-year-old native of Wyandotte, Michigan, where he played for the Roosevelt High East and East Coast Spartans AAA programs. After 2 years of playing juniors with the Toledo Cherokee in the USPHL Premier, he became a student at Anne Marie College in Paxton, Massachusetts. While being a member of the NCAA D3 AMCATS program for 5 years, Gilbert played in 101 games. He recorded 29 goals and 31 assists after his collegiate career. Gilbert did play in 6 games last season with the Pensacola Ice Flyers.
Now, what's interesting is his hometown is Wyandotte, Michigan. Now, Wyandotte, Michigan is also potentially going to be the home of the Motor City Rockers. It's a suburb of Detroit, and it does look like there is an arena there that I think can sit anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000 fans, and it is a very good possibility that that's where the Motor City Rockers are going to be. I know the owner of the Port Huron Prowlers and the Rockers has been working really hard, and according to Will Wiegelman, there's a very good chance that an announcement could be made in the next 2 or 3 weeks, maybe sometime in November, about that location. And Wyandotte, I hear, is high up on that list. And so it's kind of just interesting that Matt Gilbert signs with us, and he's from Wyandotte.
Yeah, that is pretty interesting. I mean, it would be great to see, the Motor City to come back and be part of this group again, because it would make it a little less, Watertown and Danbury for us.
No, absolutely. All right. So where do we stand with the roster? Well, Taylor and I are going to go through this and hopefully make it a little bit clear. So to be clear, by the end of the week, the Black Bears need to be down to 20 players plus 1. Now, that does not include the guys on the IR. What does this mean, and how does this work? The initial 20 means 18 skaters and 2 goaltenders. The plus 1 is an extra goaltender as well.
So covering the netminders first, we have Connor McAnanima, Wyatt Friedlander, and Dominic Tomei are your 3 goaltenders on the roster. That is set and taken care of. That means the Black Bears can have 18 players on the active roster. Right now, Tyson Kirkby and Nick Swain are on the injured reserve and do not count towards the active roster. Expect Nick Swain to come off the IR and Cam Servone to go on. From what we were being told, that will happen this weekend or by the end of the week. Tyson's injury is a little more complex, and he is expected to be on the list longer, extended out to 30 days.
Yeah. And what's important there is it's not the start to the season that Tyson obviously wanted for himself personally, but it is more important that he's healed and he's good, because the ultimate goal is never individual. He said that, yeah, I wanted 100 points last year. I want 100 points this year. Being injured for this short period of time is probably going to hurt that just a little bit. But the bigger goal is to obviously get that 3rd championship. So I think Tyson sitting is okay now because it's the beginning of the season. And that's really kind of what you talked about last week as well.
Yeah, I would much rather have something like this happen in the beginning of the season than, when your team's, completely settled and you finally have all the lines are, matched out to a T and working great, than to have an injury happen, because then you got to switch everybody around again and it just kind of makes it more chaos. Where right now it's already pretty chaotic. So It kind of all works out right now.
Exactly. The Black Bears have these 12 forwards right now on the roster: CJ Stubbs, Gavin Yates, Ivan Bondarenko, Mac Jansen, Austin Thompson, Jacob Shankar, Tim Kim, Zachary Demarier, Cam Clark, Zach Sirota, Emerson Emery, and now the new Matt Gilbert.
And they have 7 defensemen: Dan Stone, Dan Wieber, Jesse Anderson, Cam Servone, Austin Durazio, Chicho Laughlin, Scott Ramakers. That's 19 guys on the active roster, then your 2 goalies, so that's a total of 21 players plus plus one for the extra goalie.
This means that the Black Bears leadership team will have to make some choices, and this is something we talk about all the time. We don't want to be in Brant Sherwood's shoes. We know that Cam Servone will be placed on the IR when Nick Swain comes off. However, now that Matt Gilbert is signed and Rumsey has been moved, the Black Bears are still at 19 players on the active roster, meaning another player will have to be released or moved. These are delicate moves that is necessary for the continued success of the franchise and the Black Bears, who are now 6-0. So Taylor, basically what this comes down to is basically by the end of this week, I don't know if it's going to happen or if it's already happened. But basically by the end of the week, someone is going to probably be let go or be traded again. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, I know some of the fans have already talked, well, I've already gotten close to this guy. I've already gotten close to this guy. And, I've gotten close to the rookies. And that's great. They need to feel that love while they're here. But what Brant Sherwood has done so far with trading some of these guys to Baton Rouge and to Twin City, right? Because 2 of the defensemen, Luke Dobles and Shabakov, they've gone to Twin City. They've gone to good programs, right? So I think they're in good hands, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Brant takes really good care of these guys, and even anybody he trades or lets go of is usually picked up somewhere in the league, which just kind of shows that Brant kind of knows what he's doing and who he's picking. As far as letting people go, I know the fans get very close to these players and they absolutely adore them and pretty much would do anything for them to, help them succeed in getting that 3rd cup.
Right.
But at the same time, they do have the trust in Sherwood. So as these players move on or they go to different teams, they are absolutely missed playing here in Binghamton, but they are still loved. And anytime people get to see these guys, they still go out and talk to them. And it's almost like they never left.
Yeah. And, I know it's hard on the fans. It's hard on me too sometimes, right? I lose friends and not lose them, but some of these guys I get close with, and then they go to different places. One of the guys is Andrew DiTuro, who just left the Watertown Wolves to go home for personal reasons, and I immediately reached out to him to ask him if he was okay and if there was anything I could do, just because I do have a relationship with him. And I was in talks to have him on the show actually for this upcoming Sunday show. And obviously we're putting that off for right now. So I totally get it. But it's harder on Brant Sherwood than it is on all of us. It really is. He cares about these guys a real lot. And that's something that everybody needs to know. Hockey is still a business. This is still the pro game. And these type of things happen all the time. It's the part of the game that kind of sucks, but it is still part of the game.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, for these guys to be able to go up to Brant Sherwood and say, hey, I want more playing time, and Brant, it's probably not going to happen here, but let me see if I can get you somewhere else that you can, be a second line or a first line or get more playing time,
right? Whatever
the case might be. He's constantly doing moves to try to get these guys to a spot where they want to be.
Totally agree. All right. So coming up next here on the Power Play Post Show, I did have a nice conversation on Tuesday evening with Will Wiegelman. He is the broadcaster of the Port Huron Prowlers. So I figured, why not? If I'm going to get somebody from the Black Bears, I'm going to get somebody from the Port Huron Prowlers. And Will is one of those great broadcasters that we have here in the FPHL that I definitely love to talk to, and cannot wait to see them when they come out in December and get to see him again. So coming up next here on the Power Play Post Show is my conversation with Will Wiegelman. We'll be right back right after this.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers.
Hi, this is Brandon Buchinski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. I just really enjoy talking to this guy, and unfortunately, he's in Port Huron, Michigan, and we don't get to talk enough, and we should talk definitely a lot more. He is their broadcaster extraordinaire, one of the hardest working broadcasters in the league. He is Will Wiegelman. Will, welcome back to the show. It's always great to talk to you.
Bob, it's always a pleasure to be on the show and talk some Fed hockey with you.
Let's talk a little bit about probably the biggest news in the offseason was the change in ownership for the Port Huron Prowlers. And I know you and I were talking off air as, unfortunately the fans don't get to hear the first 45 minutes of our conversation.
Roughly.
but he's come in and done some really, really good things for this team. Can you give a high level version of what some of the things that he's done for the Port Huron Prowlers, and not just for the Prowlers and the players, but even the back office staff? You and Alex and Matt have a lot more help now.
Yeah, Ken Andrews has come in, and if that name sounds familiar to people, it's because he also took over the Motor City Rockers back in January, and unfortunately they had their issues, so he got the opportunity to come take over the Prowlers, and I mean, he's done unbelievable amounts of stuff for us in one off season. I mean, it's like night and day, and I don't even think that's selling it enough, the comparison, at least from a media standpoint and in arena entertainment standpoint. For me, he has given us the capabilities to do so much more on the broadcast, from replays, new graphics. I have a technical director, like 4 or 5 camera angles. We've tapped into those Sporfy cameras that are over tops of the goals.
Right.
So hopefully moving forward, we'll be able to implement those in our broadcast. He's brought in a new goal horn, built a new team store in the arena, which is open during the week, not just during games. But the coolest thing, I think, is the new on-ice projection system, something that you might see it at a Red Wings game or a Sabres game, or any NHL game, how they project players' faces and other things on the ice. We have the ability to do that in Port Huron, Michigan, at McMorran Place, which was built in like the 1950s or 60s. So, I mean, it's so cool to be a part of. And the best thing about it is that he's not just throwing us a bunch of money and telling us to figure it out. He's there on the front lines doing it. I mean, the week leading up to our home opener, they were finishing installing those on-ice projectors. We were there till 1:30 in the morning, 2:30 in the morning. And, I'm there. Ken's right there next to me with the guys who are installing the projectors. So he's right there. He has the technical expertise as well, because tech is his background.
Nice.
So he knows how all this stuff is working. So he's really involved, and it's really been awesome to be a part of this summer and into this season.
And again, one of the things that I know that you and I have talked about in the past here, even on the show, is that, it was like a 3-man team for you guys, but now you guys have people in the office helping you guys out and helping, because Matt Graham is got a lot of hats on his, and so does Alex Johnson and even you for that matter. But now you guys have help in the office. I think that's another really great thing that helps, because I heard once an owner in this league say, well, if you run it as cheap as you can, and only have like one paid employee, you can make a lot of money in this league. And I'm like, I don't know if that's the right answer here.
Yeah, no, that's not really how we're doing things here anymore. And I'd be remiss if I didn't include Chris Paulin in that
Sure. Oh,
group
absolutely.
of us. It's now, yeah, I'd say it's now, four-man office, with Chris Paulin being full-time coach and corporate sales and whatnot the past couple of years. But yeah, I mean, he's brought in some employees, some from Motor City, some we've been able to hire out, and take some of those hats and pass them over to other people. That's a tough process sometimes for us. Kind of letting go, and after being used to
delegation.
If we don't do it, if we don't do it, we're used to, like, if we don't do it ourselves, then it's not going to get done.
Yeah.
So we're kind of working on that, working on letting go a little bit and letting other people kind of do stuff and help us out. But yeah, again, I think it helps that they've built a culture here. Matt, Johnny, and Paulie have all built a culture here that of hard work on and off the ice that's really spread through the off-ice employees in the organization. And I think that helps bring in new people and make sure that we're all hitting the ground running and doing everything we need to do. One
of the other things, I don't know if, Ken was involved in the ability to do this. I do know that with other Barry Soskin organizations, names had to be changed and logos had to be changed. The Prowlers just made modification to theirs, which I think is great. There was a slight modification to the main logo, and I think it looks great. So I don't know if he was involved with being able to keep the Prowlers name and whatnot, because I know Barry was so heavily involved with the Prowlers. But it's great to see that the logo didn't really change that at all.
Yeah, no, and Ken is such a great businessman as well, so he's able to, and he is his lawyers and people for his main business, so he was able to kind of work through that stuff and make sure that we could keep the main cat logo stays the same.
Yeah.
The only change, and this was one that we just wanted to make, we just changed the circle logo to kind of incorporate a little gold.
Yes.
Throw in some nods to the Port Huron flags, but like, that was not something we had to do. That was something that we wanted to do, and we wanted to, give a bit of an enhancement to that circle logo,
which is great. One of the things you and I were talking about a little bit off air was about the way the league has kind of changed in a sense from the rough and tumble. Even though you guys are a very physical team, and we'll get to that in a little bit and everything, but also the simple fact that higher skilled players are coming into the league than ever before. Last year for you guys, it was the 3 trying guys that came in. And we're seeing that across the league as a whole. And one of the things that is very interesting, a conversation I had with Brant Sherwood at one time, was that he was recognizing that people like Matt Graham was recognizing and building those contacts and building those relationships to get those higher skilled players here. How important do you think it is that guys like Matt Graham are recognizing we got to get these high skilled players in here, those high skilled D3 players specifically?
Yeah, I mean, Matt Graham obviously comes from Division III. That's where he played his college hockey.
Yep.
But I think he just really likes that style of play in Division III college. Just the high energy, the high pace, and the high compete that you get at the college hockey ranks. So I think bringing more people like that in, bring more players like that in, that raises the energy, the pace, the compete, and all that goes along with it in this league. So I mean, to continue to move the league forward in that way, I think it's very important that teams continue to, and if they haven't yet, begin to look at the NCAA ranks to find, there's so many great players there that you can find. And obviously, Binghamton has done well to find players like that. And then, some of them they end up sending off to other places as they find even more. So
yeah, well, Brant Sherwood, I actually made a post just recently. I don't know if you saw it, Will. I know you're a part of our little group with the Power Play Post Show, but I actually made a post that specifically talked about how Brant Sherwood has there's people now throughout the league that are tied to Brant Sherwood, recruiting and bringing them in, which is obviously a good thing. And I think as we get better recruiters in this league, throughout the league, not just in Port Huron, not just in Binghamton, not just in Athens, right? But, maybe not even in just Monroe, but other places as well, you're going to see that trickle around to the rest of the teams as players move to different teams. I think it's a very good thing. But the energy of the Port Huron Prowlers is still a very physical team, a very good forechecking team. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like this summer to prepare for those first two games against the Danbury Hat-Tricks?
Well, first, to speak to the physicality of the Prowlers, it doesn't matter how skilled your hockey league gets.
Mm-hmm.
You see this at every level, even all the way up to the NHL. You still need guys who are going to run people over, on the forecheck. That's how you cause turnovers. That's how you keep the puck in the offensive zone. And to have that good mix of skill and grit, it's very important for building a successful team. Now, as soon as the schedule came out this summer,
yeah,
we knew exactly, how to build up that opening weekend. And obviously, we didn't get the ticket. The ticket revenue from it because it was on the road in Danbury. But I mean, it just made my job so easy to, build that one up.
Yeah.
And, the guys knew, they kind of knew what was coming. You can see, who's getting signed over there and you kind of know how things might play out and stuff like that. We talked to Ben Brockway about it on our last coaches show last week, and he kind of gave a really funny inside story.
Okay.
I played again on our broadcast during the first intermission on Friday night. He gave the whole inside story of what happened down there on the ice before the flag play at dirt, when he did it, what happened afterwards. He gave the whole story, which is awesome to hear. But yeah, I mean, we knew what was going to happen as soon as we walked in there, as soon as the puck dropped, and honestly, it lived up to the expectations, I think. Mm-hmm. But I think Port Huron did a great job of making sure that they stayed to play the rest of the hockey game as well. Is
it no surprise to you that Binghamton and Port Huron are 1-2 in this division, and we're going into this weekend going, what are we going to get? We've got two of the best teams, two of the best forechecking teams, two of the best skilled teams right now in this division going against each other. And I don't know if anyone really knows what we're going to get.
Well, it's such an awesome early test for both sides. I mean, you got the first few weekends, both teams played Danbury, both teams played Watertown, and you can kind of compare maybe a little bit that way of the two teams, but a 6-0 team, a 5-1 team to get that, in the first few weekends, it's such an awesome marquee matchup for the whole league to pay attention to. I mean, these are the two teams, as far as the teams that have played, 6 games, really, they haven't played too many games over the Continental at this point. So, the teams with more games played so far and more of a sample size, these look like the two best teams right now. And they look like the two best teams in the Empire. And obviously everyone's chasing Binghamton, 2-time defending champs. So to see how these two teams stack up against each other after what was an intense playoff series last season as well. We all talk about the Danbury playoff series, but there still was another great one between the Prowlers and the Black Bears after that. I mean, I think this is the one that everyone has to keep their eyes on this weekend around the league.
Without a doubt. I think the games of the weekend are definitely Binghamton and Port Huron. I want to throw a couple numbers at you because I think they're very interesting. Binghamton has scored 31 goals on the season. Port Huron has scored 18. However, Port Huron, probably one of the best defensive teams in the league, they've got the lowest goals against, which is 11. However, the thing that I also want to bring up is that Binghamton has only had 74 penalty minutes. Port Huron has had 279. Now, again, I know that first weekend really did kind of cause a little bit of a ruckus, and that built up that a little bit. But it's very interesting, those numbers. Binghamton with 31 goals for, and goals against 11 for the Port Huron Prowlers, and such a wide difference in the penalty minutes.
Yeah, and I think there's still definitely a lot to clean up from a Port Huron perspective, because they do have multiple too many men on the ice penalties already this season, which is something that obviously that can't happen at all. You don't want any of those,
right?
At all. But interestingly enough, of those 11 goals the Prowlers have given up, 6 of them have been power play goals. So they have been dominating 5-on-5. They've given up 5 even strength goals this season.
That's crazy.
So it's, if they stay out of the box, which, you know, is something that you hear time and time again. Oh, just stay out of the box, stay out of the box, stay out of the box. But it truly is for the Prowlers that they can dominate and take over games 5-on-5. Well, and they've done a great job of that this season.
Well, Binghamton saw that, because last year the only loss in the playoffs that Binghamton's had in the last 2 years is against, you know, Port Huron. And so we know, everybody I think knows that Port Huron can, you know, find a way to beat Binghamton, because they did last year a couple times. And so it definitely can happen. It'll be just interesting to see if Binghamton's speed gets Port Huron in trouble, or does the physicality that Port Huron can bring get Binghamton into trouble. And because it can go either way, right? The speed on one sense can draw penalties, but at the same time, the physicality can draw the retaliation penalties, and sometimes affect the game that way as well.
And that's always the battle, right? You know, you have when you have a fast, skilled team versus a team that likes to grind it out. You know, it's always who can impose their will, who can impose their style of game. And, you know, the first 5 to 10 minutes of, you know, each of these 2 games this weekend could prove to be very important in figuring out how is this game going to be played tonight and which team does that benefit.
We obviously know about Matt Graham, Alex Johnson. They're always very, like, you know, they're always there with the goals and the assists, and they're very consistent. They're playmakers, and they can score. Reggie's only scored 1 goal so far this season, but he's assisted on 5, and he's your top point guy. Who else on this team should, you know, maybe the Black Bears fans look out for when they watch these games?
Yeah, I mean, Reggie's been great dishing the puck early on this season, but I look at a guy like Arttu Heikkilä, who's, you know, first season in the Fed. He's played pro over in the Mestis in his native Finland.
He's got 4 goals on the season, yeah.
4 goals, leads the team, and 2 of those goals have come in the third period of close games. So he's come up big, come up clutch. They like to put him on the power play in that bumper spot, and he does a lot of good work down there. Gets a lot of good opportunities from there. But he's got a real good shot, and they have paired him a little bit with Reggie at times 5-on-5, and that paid off on Saturday. He scored a big goal against Topeka.
And then, of course, you got the guy who's probably been in the league the longest with a C on his chest, Austin Federle. You know, he's only gotten 3 points so far on this season, but how important is he to this team?
I mean, he's the heart and soul guy. That's why he wears the C. Obviously, he brings in a lot of ticket sales because he's from Port Huron.
That helps, right?
Yeah, but he definitely has a knack for coming up in the clutch. You just look at Saturday. Prowlers were able to go Topeka into some late penalties in a 3-3 game.
Wow.
Get to a 5-on-3 with under 3 minutes to go, a little over 3 minutes to go, and then Austin Federle's the guy that scores that game winner with 2:50 on the clock on the 5-on-3. So I mean, he's always there. He's always, you know, you always have to think about him in the back of your mind, especially in a tight game, because he always finds a way to make some noise.
Reed Cooper, obviously, has been strong already in net, a 1.80 goals against average. Not a surprise when you have a great defense in front of him. Not that he's not a great goaltender. I hate it when I hate it when I say that and I go, oh, crap, I'm now saying he's a bad goaltender because he has a great defense in front of him. They go hand in hand. They work together. That's the whole point of a team sport. But a 1.8 goals against and a 946 save percentage, he's seeing shots. Let's be honest. 158 saves. I think Connor McAnanima, who's played in 4 games for Binghamton, has seen like maybe 75, 76 saves. So he's seeing double that than what Connor has seen. So the save percentage is pretty impressive. Yeah,
and I mean, you look at his first shutout, 2 shutouts already this season.
Yeah.
And you look at his first one against Danbury, he made 38 saves in that one.
Oh.
First game against Danbury, 47 of 48. So he is certainly seeing a lot of shots, but he's been dialed in. He's looked like, the best goaltender in the league in this quick early going, obviously small sample size, but he has looked, completely dialed in. He can steal a game or two for the Prowlers. And once, playoff season rolls around in short series, if your goaltender can steal you a game, that completely changes things.
Yeah, the other shutout he got was against the Topeka Scarecrows, correct?
Yeah, and he only had to make 18 stops in that one,
nice.
But a few of them were, we'll call them non-conventional. But he's done a good job reading the puck as well, especially in Danbury. Again, that first weekend, he made a lot of saves look very, very routine against Danbury hat tricks, and then he put on a show against Topeka. He made a few spectacular saves in that shutout against the Scarecrows on Friday night.
What can you tell us about the Scarecrows? Binghamton doesn't play the Scarecrows or the Blue Ridge Bobcats, the 2 teams in the Empire Division at all this season. What can you tell us about the Scarecrows and what Robbie Nichols is bringing to these games?
Well, it was interesting for us because there were a lot of former Motor City Rockers on this Scarecrows team. So that was just a lot of familiarity there, but I think it says a lot about the culture that they're building early on when half their roster is expansion draft or dispersal draft picks. And that's what it was going into last weekend, that 11 of their 22 players were either picked in the expansion draft or dispersal draft. 3 more were acquired in trades before those drafts happened. So, I mean, they've been able to convince guys that, hey, Topeka's a great place to play. This is what we're building. We have, a great culture going on, and they've been able to bring guys in, and that's really key for an expansion team, right? To make sure that you're not a constant turnstile when it comes to players in and players out, because then that's when things start to get away from you. So I think that's really the biggest positive for Topeka is that they've established a culture already from day one. That's a place that players want to be.
Which is very good, as you said. Are there any teams in the Empire Division you guys don't play this year?
We only play Empire Division teams.
That's it.
So we play all the teams in the Empire. Do not get to see anyone in the Continental, which means I have to keep my shorts in the closet all year long. Unfortunately, I've always enjoyed my trips to the Gulf Coast.
Yeah.
Even though it's a long time on the bus, we are there for a day or two, and you enjoy it. You enjoy the sun for a little bit. You enjoy the warmth for a little bit. It's really nice, but that's just kind of how the schedule gets made, and can't really complain about it. You just have to
just roll with it.
You just have to play who's in front of you, and go the places you're told to go. I am excited though to see the building in Virginia for the very first time. Prowlers have never visited the Blue Ridge Bobcats.
Oh, okay. So
ever.
You guys are going there.
This is their 3rd year. This is the Bobcats' 3rd year. Never visited them. So I'm very excited to see that building.
Yeah, it's it was an old horse barn that they did a lot of really cool stuff in. When it came to farming and selling off cattle and pigs and things of that nature, and they literally have turned it into a hockey arena. And they built brand new seating It's pretty cool if you watch the progression of what they've done over the last few years to kind of build that place up. They're building a hockey market there, which is really, really neat. Which is pretty cool. And Zemleka, the head coach there, has built a team that can compete. And each year it's gotten better and better and better for that team. So, which is pretty impressive. If I had to ask you if there was one team that you are regretting that you guys don't get to play against in the Continental, don't say Biloxi because everybody wants to go to the damn Gulf Coast. that doesn't count. Out of any of the other teams, and no offense to Biloxi, we love you, but what's one of the teams there that you would have loved to have gone to this year?
Yeah, I know Biloxi and Baton Rouge are such the easy answers. They're just such nice places to be. So they can at least have that consolation that I would have loved to pick them. I wanted to see the new building in Florence. Yeah. The PD Ice Cats. Yeah. I think it's either between them or Athens because Athens building was just unbelievable when we went there last year. So that would always be a nice place that I'd like to go. But I think I gotta go with PD because I just love going to see the new buildings and the new places. So I think that would have been really cool to go and check out.
Will, I'm going to get your thoughts on one more thing before I let you go. Previously in the leagues, we've had a hard time with some brand new teams coming into the league and not doing well. And we all know the story about the Indiana Sentinels, and we're not here to really talk about that. What I want to talk about is 12 teams already in this league have gotten one regulation win. It took a long time for that to happen over the last couple of years with like 4 or 5 teams. The fact that Columbus is going to win a game, we all know that. That's going to happen.
Columbus does that. They do have a shootout win, but they just have the league just has the weird way of having the standings. Well, so they do have their shootout win.
Yeah, well,
but I think it's down to Indiana now.
To cover my back, I did say regulation win.
Yes,
but you're right. You're right. Basically, we're down to one team. You've been in this league for 4 years, I think now, 5 years. 4?
This is year 4.
This is year 4.
Year 4 for me. Yeah,
I think we're finally getting to the point where the competitiveness in the league, throughout the league, for almost every single team, really truly has finally gotten to the point where we can say that it's, I don't want to say parity yet, right? I'm not saying that, but that we've got 10 to 12 very competitive teams in this league.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that helps in building fan bases because, if you're just going to see, 12-1 games, 9-1 games, things like that, every night, even if it's your team that's winning all the time, that's going to get boring at some point. Yeah. And if it's your team that's losing, well, you're not going to build fans that way. So I think it's great to see every team have a chance, nearly every night. Based on, sometimes there are circumstances that, you get put behind the 8 ball, but I think really every team can walk into a building each night and say that they have a chance to win the game. And that's really what you're looking for when you're building a pro sports league.
He is Will Wiegelman. Will, you're going to take good care of our friend Brooks Hill when he gets out there, correct?
Well, we'll see. I mean, if it's anything like Danbury, I might have to throw him over the side of the broadcast booth. But,
whoa! What happened in Danbury? Did Doug Latuca not take good care of you?
No. Is
there a controversy here that I need to dig into?
No, I'm just saying, with our playoff histories,
right,
might have to have a little rivalry up there in the booth now. But we're excited to have Brooks back at McMorran, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I think this should be one of the best series of the early Fed season.
Didn't he miss last year because he was sick?
He did.
Yeah,
yes.
he did. Yeah.
Yes, he did. So
you didn't get him last year because he was sick.
I think he was ducking me, actually.
You know what? I think so too. I love Brooks, but I think he might have been ducking you. I agree.
He might have been.
He probably went home to Carolina because it was warm and stuff. And
yeah, right.
He complains about the cold all the time, and his job is in an ice hockey arena.
Yeah, right. You know what?
You got to pick on him
about that. Just have to put on a jacket, right?
Yeah. Well, it's probably cold in Michigan right now, right?
It is. Yeah, it's getting pretty chilly. But
yeah, it is.
Yeah, maybe we have to invest in a space heater for the visiting broadcast booth.
Oh God, if you have one there with a Black Bear sticker on it, that would be hilarious. He's well, as it is on Thursday when he listens to this, he's going to be so pissed at me. So
yeah, right. I'm just waiting to get the text from him too.
Brooksy, I love you. You're great, and have a great weekend this weekend. Obviously these are going to be two great intense games. But Will, as always, thank you very much for coming on and talking to us. And I can't wait until you guys get out to Port or back out to Binghamton so I can see you guys here live.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I always love my trips to Binghamton, partly because I get to see some family. They like to come up, but also because, it's always a great building, a lot of fun to go to. Fans are a lot of fun there as well.
Awesome. He is Will Wiegelman of the Port Huron Prowlers, and we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was Will Wiegelman of the Port Huron Prowlers, and obviously giving us a nice little preview of what to expect from some of the players on the team and the kind of play that they're going to do. Well, we have our own little preview right here now, obviously, and Taylor's going to start it off.
The Binghamton Black Bears at Port Huron preview on Friday at 7:45 p.m. and Saturday at 6. I know earlier we had talked about the starting time. 7:45 is such a weird number to me.
I think it's because of Halloween. This game is going to be being played on Halloween, so maybe some of the trunk or treaters, they're giving them some extra time to get to the arena, be able to do your trunk and treat. Trick or treat and then go to the game. Well, it might be trunk and treat too, because that's such a big thing nowadays, is going to one of those trunk or treaters. So I think partially the 7:45 is because of Halloween.
All right, I'll let that one pass for this time.
Okay.
The Prowlers are second in the Empire Division with 15 points and a record of 5-1-0, while the Black Bears are just above them in the division in first place with a 6-0-0 record and 17 points. This will be the first two meetings between the Prowlers of the season since the 3-game series back in the 24-25 playoffs just 5 months ago. In that series, the Black Bears did drop the first game of that series in Port Huron, a shutout for the Prowlers, 3-0. The last season, the Black Bears and the Prowlers played 8 games against each other, with the Black Bears leading the series 6-2, with the final 2 games of the regular season being 2 shutouts by the Black Bears, 4-0 and 6-0. Both of those games were played in Binghamton.
Now, before you go on, I want to make a point. The Prowlers were the only team to beat the Black Bears 3 times last year, right? They are technically our biggest competition right now that we've played last year coming into this year, at least in my opinion, based on those numbers.
Yeah, you're definitely right. The only thing that I could say to benefit that is we did end up losing to them out there, and then they came here and we made sure they didn't get a single goal.
Yeah.
The Prowlers last weekend took 2 games from Topeka Scarecrows, 3-0 on Friday and a 4-3 on Saturday.
Okay, the Prowlers are led by Reggie Millette. He's got, in 6 games played, he's got 1 goal, 5 assists for 6 points. Matt Graham, also in 6 games played, 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points. He's got 1 power play goal and 1 game-winning goal. Alex Johnson, basically the same numbers as Matt Graham. I mean, they're like twins out there on the ice. 6 games played, 3 goals, 2 assists for 5 points, 1 power play goal, 1 game-winning goal. And the rookie standout for them is Arttu Heikala. It's good enough. 6 games played, 4 goals, no assists, 1 power play goal, and also 1 game-winning goal. Reed Cooper has, in 5 games played, is 4-1 with a 1.8 goals against average and a .946 save percentage. Now, the interesting thing here, he's seen 167 shot attempts against him. Now, the Black Bears are led by C.J. Stubbs. In 6 games played, he's got 2 goals, 10 assists, 12 points, 2 power play goals, and 2 game-winning goals. So his 2 goals so far in the season, Taylor, have been on the power play. And that's that 5-forward rotation that the Black Bears have been rolling out. And C.J. Stubbs has kind of seen the benefit of that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, those numbers don't surprise me at all.
Yeah, especially not with him. He's such a playmaker, but then you get him on the power play with 4 other forwards, and that's what he's going to give. Now, Gavin Yates, 6 games played, 5 goals, 6 assists for 11 points, 3 power play goals, and 1 game-winning goal. I'll be honest with you, Taylor, I'd be surprised if Gavin is out there this weekend playing in Port Huron with everything going on in his personal life. I think Gavin will be home for this upcoming weekend series. Makes it a little bit tougher for the Black Bears, but it's important for Gavin to take care of some things.
Yeah, I know the whole fan base would support him whether he plays or he doesn't play this weekend. Everybody loves him, and the support here in Binghamton is unmatched.
Yes, absolutely. Ivan Bondarenko, 6 games played, 3 goals, 8 assists for 11 points. Mac Jansen, he has in 6 games played, 5 goals, 4 assists for 9 points, 2 power play goals, and 1 game-winning goal. Austin Thompson, in 5 games played, has 5 goals, 2 assists for 7 points, 1 power play goal, 1 game-winning goal. And Connor McAnanima has played 4 games. He's 4-0. He's got a 2.70 goals against average and an .855 save percentage. Now, the thing here, though, is I marked down 76 shot attempts, which is about 90 less than Reed Cooper. C-Mac's defense in front of him has just not let him see a lot of shots compared to Reed Cooper or even some of the other goaltenders like Brendan Colgan, Matt Lenz that we've seen over the first few weeks. The Black Bears are shooting a lot, but the opponents are not getting a lot of shots on goal on our goaltenders.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to look at goalie numbers, especially this early into the season, just for that reason.
Yeah.
You got the Black Bears who put up 50 shots a game compared to the opposing team who might get 20.
Yeah.
It's very hard to kind of compare those numbers in that general.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. All right. So special teams wise, and we're going to get into this a little bit deeper here in just a few minutes with Taylor. But Binghamton on the power play is ranked 4th. They have 9 power play goals, 22% conversion rate. The penalty kill is ranked 8th with only giving up 4 power play goals and an 85% kill rate. They've had shorthanded chances only 27. They've only given up shorthanded chances of 27. They haven't been penalized that much, which is good. Watertown, on the other hand, power play is ranked 8th. 5 power play goals, 14% conversion rate. And the penalty kill is ranked 5th with giving up 6 power play goals and 88%, but they've given up 49 chances. And so that's why that number is a little bit different than the Black Bears. If you think about it, that's 22 more power plays. Now, if Port Huron gives Binghamton 22 power plays between the 2 games, I'm just throwing that number out there because that's the difference between how many shorthanded attempts they've had. I really do think that that's going to burn the Port Huron Prowlers if they give the Black Bears too many chances.
I definitely agree with that. I think that the teams that Port Huron has faced so far don't have. And I'm not trying to knock any of the other teams they've played against, but
sure.
Just we're first in the division for a reason. If you give them the amount of chances that Port Huron could possibly give them and probably will give them, they're going to capitalize at some point.
Yeah, I totally agree on this. All right, so let's get into a more detailed look at the penalties between these two teams. Taylor, first give us how many penalty minutes does the Black Bears have? How many penalty minutes so far through 6 games does the Port Huron Prowlers have?
So in 6 games, Binghamton only has 74 penalty minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And Port Huron in 6 games has 279 penalty minutes.
I think that's the most in the division, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
They have more penalties than we do penalty minutes. They have 85 penalties.
And we have 74 penalty minutes. That is hilarious. All right. Why don't you give us your detailed report here on kind of like this? It's a strange anomaly that we're playing these guys, in the 7th and 8th game of the season, and there's such a difference between the penalty minutes.
So as we kind of just said, Binghamton's got 74 penalty minutes. We have, I believe, we have 34 penalties. To put that into a little bit perspective on what Port Huron has been doing, that Port Huron has 32 physical infractions. So they have 2 for charging, 2 for elbowing, 11 roughing, and 16 fights.
And if I remember correctly from the images that you sent me, we have 2 fights.
Yes. Yeah. We have 2 fights.
2 fights on the season. All right. Continue on.
They have 29 stick infractions. So that's your cross-checking. They've got 9, high sticking for 3, hooking for 8, and slashing for 9.
Mm-hmm.
They've got 9 restraining infractions, so 5 for holding and 4 for interference. And then the other, I have in quotations, they have 14 other infractions. So they have 2 instigator, 1 aggressor, 1 inciting, 2 abusive official, 4 unsportsmanlike conduct, and then, your too many men and delay of game for 5. There's 3 too many men and 2 delay of game.
Well, 2 delay.
So as I just said.
Wow. No, go ahead.
So Binghamton, as I said, has 34 penalties. So Port Huron has almost as many penalties in just the physical infractions as we do just in all of our penalties. We have 8 physical infractions. We have 5 for roughing, 2 for fighting, and 1 kneeing. Our highest, we have 12 stick infractions, 5 slashing, 4 hooking, 2 high sticking, and 1 cross-checking. We have 9 restraining infractions, 5 for holding, 2 tripping, and 2 interference. And we have 5 other infractions. We have 2 delay of game, 1 too many men, 1 instigator, and 1 unsportsmanlike conduct.
Those are just crazy differences between the two teams. And I don't want to say that Port Huron doesn't have skilled players on their team. They do. I just think that they consciously play a different style of hockey, a more physical and aggressive style of hockey than the Black Bears do. And I don't want the Black Bears to think that. I don't think they don't play physical hockey, but I just don't feel that they need to play those, what did you call them? Physical penalties or physical infractions. Physical infractions. They don't have to play that style of hockey. They're skilled, and if they need to, forecheck hard or lay a good hit, they can do that. They just don't need to play the style that Port Huron plays. And what's interesting to me is what is going to prevail this weekend? Are we going to go into the weekend and have the Binghamton hockey style of hockey or Binghamton Black Bear style of hockey? Or are we going to have the Port Huron penalty fest?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting. I think kind of looking at the Port Huron lineup for Friday's game might. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know what their lineups have looked like so far for their games,
right?
But I have a feeling that because some of these guys, if they're starting the game, it might just start off rough to begin with because that's how Port Huron has started several of their games.
But. And you and I have talked about this a little bit off air a couple different times. Like how does that happen? Like against Danbury, I understand it, right? With Danbury, there was definitely something was going to happen. Brockway was coming into Danbury for the first time since the flag planting incident, and we knew that Jesse Swanson or somebody was going to go after him, and it was just going to happen. I mean, Danbury basically told us that for the few weeks or a couple months leading up to that, right? But how does that play out with Binghamton? Binghamton comes in. How does Port Huron have a fight in the first minute in their first 4 games? How do they make that happen with Binghamton? I don't see how that can happen.
Yeah, I don't see how it happens either. I mean, we've had 2 fights and they were both with the same person. It was both Shankar.
Right.
And the one, I wasn't even really anything physical that happened. It wasn't, anything major. But they've had several guys go out and, drop the gloves and stuff. And like number 13, Ben Brockway, as you kind of already mentioned, he's got 14 penalties so far. He's got the highest on the team.
Wow.
And that's penalties, not penalty minutes. 6 of his are physical, which is 5 fights and 1 elbow.
Right.
Number 16, Brian Parsons, is the next highest on the list with 9. So you go from 14 penalties to 9. Out of those 9, he's got 4 roughing and 1 fight. The next highest is number 25, Alex Johnson. He hasn't fought, and the only reason I put him on this list is because he has a charging penalty against him. And I know charging can be kind of dangerous depending on how severe.
Yeah.
So out of 6 games, they've had 16 fights, and in 4 of those 6 games, they've had a fight within the first minute, and one of those games was 2 fights in the first 10 seconds. Yeah. Between Brockway and Parsons, who I've already mentioned, that accounts for 6 of the fights. Schlepp has 3 fights, Bussell has 2, Morich has 2, and then Federley, Graham, and Organ each have 1.
Yeah, and who are they going to fight? I mean, I don't think they have a beef with Shankar, right? If Shankar's does Shankar really have our only 2 fights?
Yeah.
I know he fought to stick up for Sirota. That was the one physical, thing that you could say, a physical thing happened, and then he went and fought the guy. But like, I can't believe it's Shankar that's the only person that's fought so far.
Oh, no, the second one was Ivan. That's what it was.
Bondarenko.
Yep.
Okay, so
10-24 against Watertown.
Okay, all right.
I think it happened late in the game.
All right. So
Shankar had the instigator and then the fighting. That's what it was.
God, and I don't even, we don't know enough about Bondarenko's game. I mean, he's a fast, speedy guy, but I to say that these guys are going to be able to pick fights with some of the guys on the Black Bears, I don't see how that happens. I mean, like, I don't know if I'd pick a fight with Dan Wieber, right? Because he's big, tough, and just like a Minnesota boy and farm boy, and I don't know if that's a good idea, right? Same thing with Dan Stone. What are you going to do? Pick a fight with him? It's just such a weird concept that we're going into this and we don't know, and it's almost like, I think you said that going into this, these 2 games are the games I've been the most excited about, other than the home opener and raising the banner. And you told me a little bit off air, this is the game, like Friday night's game, you're the most nervous about. Can you explain that to everyone?
Yeah, Friday night is probably the most nervous that I've been. I mean, I know it's very early into the season,
right?
But I feel like I'm more nervous about this first game against Port Huron than I was during the playoffs last season. During the playoffs, I don't really get that nervous. I mean, it is, it keeps you on the edge of the seat most of the time. It's a lot of fun. That I'm fine with. This is like the opposite of that. My fear and why I'm so nervous about it is that Port Huron pulls out all of these stops to try to get Binghamton to either fight them or to take penalties or get penalties that, hinder both teams. You got 2 guys in the box, they even out, but it hurts your team.
Right.
Because now you have 4 skaters on the ice or 3 skaters, and it's just, after a while, that adds up, and that makes very tired guys, which has worked out for Port Huron. So my fear is that they go into Friday, they have all these antics from Port Huron, and they can't get away from it, and we somehow end up losing the game. So now you've lost the first game of the season, you're not playing at home, and you have to go back and do the same thing and hope for a different outcome on Saturday, and I know that's a very hard thing to do.
Right.
To get your head in the right mindset. And our guys are very good at, keeping the right headset in mind. I mean, they did it all last season where they had 1 goal, and that's what they did. So I'm hoping that I am very much wrong and that doesn't happen. But that's my nervous.
Yeah, no, I get that. And part of what you just said is the reason why I'm probably the most excited about these games, right? Because Danbury wasn't really any competition in the second week of the season. Watertown was a surprise, I think, for all four of the games, where there was a period or two or a period and a half or like 13 minutes where Watertown put the screws to Binghamton and you're like, oh, crap, what's going to happen here? But this is more of like anticipation for me coming into this. I am kind of excited about these games. All right. Talking about the penalties, getting back to that for a second, is there anything else you want to tell us?
No, I was just going to kind of hint at, you were saying, who are these guys going to fight?
Yeah.
And this is where Jeremy and I would very much disagree. This is where he would input and say, this is why we need an enforcer,
Yes.
Somebody to go to Port Huron and fight. But I'm going to take the opposite end of that and say, if we don't have somebody that's willing to fight, what are they going to do?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's where, and this is where if someone from Port Huron is listening, Will Wiegelman might listen to this. He might disagree with me. This is where I think the physical play that Port Huron does, if they can't get somebody to go with them, where it gets a little dirty, right? Where they start pushing the envelope just a little bit more. And it's a style of play. Listen, there are hockey teams in all levels of hockey, from the NHL down to the Fed, that have played this style of hockey that Port Huron does. But if you don't have a team that is kind of willing to go, right? Maybe Jesse Anderson drops the gloves, right? Because Jesse's dropped the gloves plenty of times in the last few years, right? But say he decides to make it smart. Does Port Huron keep amping up that physical play, and it gets almost to the borderline of being dirty, just because they're trying to goad the Black Bears into something more? And that kind of concerns me a little bit, going into this.
Yeah, I mean, in that aspect, there's probably a very thin line, and not that you would want anything bad to happen, but you'd almost hope that they cross a line and end up getting, punished a game or 2 games or
whatever it might be. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. All right, well, that's our preview of the Port Huron Prowlers. Now, when we come back after the Dan Wieber interview, we'll give you our predictions on this weekend. We'll tell you what we think, how it's going to go, just as we end this particular episode of the Power Play Post Show. We'll give you our predictions of the Port Huron Prowlers and the Binghamton Black Bears coming up right after our conversation with Dan Wieber. We'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
You're listening to the Power Play Post Show. Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. This gentleman is going to be on the show, and his father is going to be tickled pink that I have him back here on the podcast. He is Dan Wieber. Dan, welcome back to the show. It's great to talk to you.
Thanks, Bob. It's great to be back on the show. I know my dad's been listening. He's always telling me what you're saying, and whether good or bad, he lets me know.
I don't say a lot of bad things. There hasn't. All right, let's be honest, Dan. Has there been a lot of bad things to say over the past 2 years and now 6 games for the Binghamton Black Bears? Give me your assessment on what you guys have done over the last 2 years and 6 games now.
I mean, looking at our track record in the past 2 years, there's really nothing to be upset about. Yeah, you can nitpick game here and there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we lost one. Would we lose 6 games last year?
Something like that, yeah.
So, I mean, that's an unbelievable record. And the year before, last year we never lost consecutive games. That's a huge thing that we are proud of and we want to strive for this year, is if we do lose a game, we're not losing back-to-back. We have adversity and we have that grit to where we can fix what was wrong the first night, or if it is the second night, we turn around and we wash it, and it's a new weekend. And so that first season, losing the 4 games back to back, 4 games in a row, and then Connor McNann was saying we're never losing again, and we didn't lose until that following the next season opener next year.
Yeah,
and carried us all the way through playoffs. 12 games before playoffs. I think it was a 17-game win streak or something like that. It was unbelievable. And so nitpick on small things here and there, but he's not really any bad in the past 2 years. And hopefully we can keep that rolling into this third year and just meet the goals that our team is making.
Dan, everyone says, oh, the first championship is very special. The second championship, there's specialness about it. But can you really compare between 2 championships? You've now lived it back to back. Can you really compare championships, honestly?
You can't really compare them. I mean, yeah, championships are championships. They're awesome. They don't come by often, so you really have to just enjoy it for what it is. I mean, Binghamton's been fortunate enough in the past 2 years to win 2. And so, I mean, that first one coming to the city, the town is so excited. And then the following year, we won 2. It was run it back. That was the standard right after we'd won the first one. And so the excitement for the second one was almost equally as exciting as the first one. The fans wanted it as bad as we did. They wanted it as bad as they wanted the first one. And just having the city behind us and our fans and community supporting us along the way, good and bad, which I said hasn't been too much bad here, but no, championship to championship, they've been very similar, equally exciting. I had family there both times, and it was a great time.
Yeah, I got to meet your sister who is serving, and we love the fact that she's out there serving our country. She is a crazy.
God bless her.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a crazy hoot, though. I mean, she's not what I expected when I met her. A lot of energy, but having family there was great. It's so very important. Matter of fact, I think your father bought an RV, a huge RV, just to come out to see you guys play. Isn't that crazy?
He didn't buy the RV just to come out. Just for his sake, I'll help him out there. But it's definitely a good tool to have, where if they have the time, they can drive out, they can be settled in an RV. It's easy travels. So it definitely helps them with travel, but he didn't buy it just for that. They do want to use it for other things. Like we go 4x4ing or camping. We have the RV. It's a multi-use vehicle. So, but he does enjoy using it. And if he gets the opportunity to drive it, he'll definitely take it out here.
Now, I saw pictures in the summertime. You guys went, is it bogging or whatever? Were you going out there with the big Jeeps and you're going through water and mud and stuff like that? Did I see pictures correctly? And then someone got one of them stuck?
So he texts you quite often, I see.
A little bit here and there, especially during the summertime. He definitely sent me pictures. And I think he had to come pull you guys out, right?
Yeah, I think there was 2 occasions of that. One time, Bailey and we took a vehicle. And so back home, my parents live on 40 acres, and it's roughly 5 acres housing and then 15 field. And then the rest is all wetland swamp.
That's awesome.
So the field's all corn, so we stay out of that. And then the swamp, you just kind of drive around, and you can tell where it's really wet, and you kind of avoid the cattails. But other than that, you can putz around. And I found an area that was not true ground and sunk to the bottom, and that there I sat stuck in the mud about felt like a half mile from the house, but just a quarter mile. So I called my dad, and he didn't answer. So I walked a little bit. The next thing you know, I just see him driving down with another vehicle ready to pull me out.
How important are those times in the summertime to kind of take that break from hockey and do fun stuff like that? Something that I would have done when I was 14 years old with an old 1970 Ford Mercury Cougar, out in a field somewhere, hitting a creek and getting it stuck and then having to be pulled out with a tractor from a farmer. How important are those types of things? And you know, because you're in your 20s, you still got to have fun, especially in the summertime when you're not playing hockey.
Yeah, I mean, hockey is amazing. I love everything about it, but that time away, being with family, and I mean, my dad tells these stories forever. I want to think he loves coming and pulling me out after I say I'm not going to get stuck. He might not enjoy it as much as I think he does, but no, it's always good going home, and my friends stop by and we do the same thing. We go out there and we get the vehicle stuck, we get them muddy, and then we hang out, have a campfire, and just catch up on good times and good friends and mudding and just being with family. I really love that about the summer, is just getting time to step away from the sport and go back to your roots of just being a civilian, human, good family.
Talk a little bit about Mac Jansen coming to the team. He's a fellow Minnesotan, and did you know immediately that he was from Minnesota when he joined the team?
I look up everyone on the team as we get them. So as soon as I saw he signed, I was like, "Oh, he's from Minnesota," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And he's a little older than me, so I never had played against him, but I have a buddy, one of my college roommates is from the same hometown he is. And so I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, do you know Mac Jansen? He's a little older than us." And he goes, "I never met him personally, but I watched him in high school. He was so gross." And he's like, "Hey, he's so really good." And so I was just like, "All right, yeah, it's cool." And it's nice to have another Minnesotan on the team. I mean, we still we like to think we don't get made fun of. We set the standard on how to say words. But it's also nice having someone there that roots for the Vikings, because this year would have been a bad year for me solo.
Yeah.
They're in a rough patch, and then the Wild we come in the rink every day. We're like, the Wild are the worst team. And then we come in, the Wild are the best team. They're going all the way. And they're just having an up and down year. So it's nice to have someone I can talk to about the Minnesota sports and the Minnesota struggles, someone that gets it.
Are there things about Minnesota that the two of you just get that other people just don't understand?
Cold weather.
Yeah.
Like there's just a bunch of things about Minnesota. Like, in Minnesota, we'd be fine. And we just have that running joke of like, we're fine. We're from Minnesota. We're different. And Stone chimes in there. He's like, "Hey, I'm from Calgary." We're like, "All right, you're good too."
Yeah, he and Fletch understand the cold. Even when it gets cold here in Binghamton, I don't complain about it. It's like I grew up, and it was like we'd be skating out on a beaver pond that froze over when it was like, minus 10 degrees. It felt like normal childhood things to do for my brother and I.
Yeah, I agree. It was. I mean, my parents built a rink for me and my friends back in the day right in my front yard, and there were days it would be negative 12 degrees outside. We'd be out there in a hoodie and sweatpants sweating.
Yeah.
And there's snow is falling on us, and we're coming in the warming house for water not to get warm. Like, it was just natural to be that, be in the temperatures of that degree.
I think Canadians probably understand how Minnesotans, live when it comes to, playing hockey all the time. Your father builds a rink, in the front yard. That happens up in Canada a lot. But do some of the other players that come from other states look at you guys and go, "Are you really from Minnesota, or is that Canada?" Because it's very a similar life, obviously here in the States, but the love for hockey in Minnesota, we've talked about it before, right? Minnesota State hockey, the high school hockey tournament is one of the greatest in our country, without a doubt. But it almost seems like you guys are an extension of Canada when it comes to the love of hockey in Minnesota.
I agree. I mean, it's a joke Fletch and I always had, is he's like, "All right, I can adopt you as a Canadian. You guys are cool. We can take you guys in." And so it was just a running joke we had, is like, we're pretty much the same.
Yeah, it's amazing too, because Michigan has some great hockey that gets played there. I know you guys don't like the comparison at all, but even Cervone and Blake Tosto, their roots are also so cemented in baseball and the Tigers and whatnot. It almost seems like, even though you guys are so close to each other, it's so different between the two states.
I know. Michigan does have a lot of hockey players. It does. It's right up there with Minnesota, the number of hockey players in the NHL or that play pro hockey. And it's just a different aspect of like the culture of Minnesota high school hockey. That's what we pride ourselves on. And like no one will ever come close to that when it comes to that compete level at that age group. I mean, Michigan has their AAA and they thrive themselves on that. And like, it's just different worlds being a Minnesota high school hockey player, playing in your hometown in front of your friends and family, or traveling in Michigan to cities all over the country playing AAA. It's just a different atmosphere and a different culture. I mean, there's not one that's more beneficial than the other if you're looking for a road, but I always loved the high school hockey culture in Minnesota.
No, without a doubt. This year, you have now, well, first of all, before we even get to your new dance partner, Dan Stone, let's talk a little bit about training camp. You come into training camp, but then you go up to, or you go down to the Reading Royals training camp. What was that like for you? Talk about that experience, about being in an ECHL camp, and what did you learn about yourself, comparing yourself really kind of to some of those ECHL players?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience. I met a lot of great guys. I still contact guys there and guys that got cut with me, and it was a great time. Everyone there was treating me well, coaching staff, players, everyone there was polite, and it seemed like they had a great mentality there. They want to win games. They have a very good structure. New coach this year, so I mean, they're hoping to turn things around. I think they've had a pretty good start to the season.
Mm-hmm.
I saw they just won in a nail biter in OT. I think 15 goals were scored in that game, but they ended up on top. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, comparing myself to the guy next to me in that lineup, I mean, those guys, I felt like they were, I don't know how to describe it, but everything they did was just really smooth. And like, I would try to do the same and it would work out for me sometimes. Like I learned from the guys there. It wasn't me standing out in a bad way.
Right.
It was me learning from the guys next to me and watching what they were doing, how they were doing it. And so it was a good learning process for me. And like the conversations I had with the coach were all good. He was a great guy. Anthony Peters up there, I hope they have a great season this year. And I mean, if they need a guy, he said, I'm just a phone call away, and he liked what I had, liked my personality. So I hope the best for them. And if they need a guy, I'm there for them. And if not, I'm here in Binghamton and I'm ready to win another cup. And yeah, everything there was fun. It was great guys. Practices were hard. That's one thing we were skating a lot. After practice, we were conditioning. Every drill and practice was a really conditioned practice, a lot of skating, but I liked it. I didn't feel like I stood out at all, and kind of coaches asking questions about my identity, so I had to look at myself and be like, what kind of player am I? And so I liked it. It was a kind of a realization and kind of figuring out what I am as a player.
You should have said, Coach, I'm from Minnesota. What kind of player do you think I am like? Yeah, come on.
Exactly.
But let's talk about a little bit of disappointment for a second. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but the home opener, you thought maybe possibly playing with Reading that night, but that didn't happen. And then you couldn't get back in time to play with Binghamton. Talk a little bit about, because you've had a lot of great ups over the past 2 years. Let's be perfectly honest. Good things have happened to Dan Wieber, the Binghamton Black Bears, all that. But that one day, it's like you didn't get to play in either place. One would have been very special, obviously the home opener here in Binghamton. The other would have been ECHL game, right? Can you talk a little bit about that disappointment? How important it is to kind of learn from that a little bit?
I mean, no one likes being cut, but it's just part of hockey. I mean, I've understood. I mean, I've seen players come in and out of our team, and I know what happens at every level and every team. Things happen, and not everybody can make the team. It's just kind of how things go. And I would have liked to know I wasn't playing in the Reading game on Thursday night, so I could have came home Thursday and maybe played on Friday, but that's not how the cards fell. And he let me know Friday around noon, and I wasn't home in time to play in that season opener. So, I mean, I was there supporting the guys. I showed my face in the locker room, and my dad had flown out to Philadelphia, and he drove to Reading thinking I'd be playing in the game. And so him and I drove up to Binghamton, and I ended up just watching the game with my dad and Bailey. And it was a good time. I mean, I got to talk to him. I mean, he traveled a ton just to be there. So it was kind of nice just sitting there talking to him about the game. And it's the first game I've ever watched with Bailey. So,
how was that? Well, okay, let me ask you that question. Did you sitting up in the stands, because I'm guessing you guys were up in the stands, probably over on the right-hand side, from where I usually am up in the press box, because that's usually where they are. Did you see the game differently? Did you see the Black Bears play differently from that view, so to speak?
I mean, I've watched games from upstairs before in the press box. I mean, it was a little different just being hidden in the fans, hearing all the little things fans are saying. And
oh boy.
Everyone's got a little different insight. 80% of the fans are going, shoot it, shoot it. So, I mean, that part got a little annoying. I'm like, why would he shoot that? But
let me ask you. But let me ask you this question: you've never watched a Wild game and said, "Why isn't he shooting the puck?"
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm that fan too. When it's not our team, I'm like,
fair enough.
But it was a good experience. I liked it. I mean, being part of the fans, it was the night Illuminations did the bracelet. So, I mean, seeing that from a fan point of view was cool, watching it go section by section, the whole stadium lighting up in the same color. And it was a cool experience, but I'm happy to be playing again. Obviously, I would have loved to play in that game and experience it on the ice, but that's just not how the cards fell. And that was just out of my hands. So,
yeah, well, it's a good way to look at it. It's not, it wasn't in your hands, no control of yours. You did all the right things, and that was just the situation. And you just got to look at it that way. You got to be just, take the goods and bads. You were up in the ECHL camp. You got caught. Okay, you come back to Binghamton. You come back to a great situation, which is you start practicing then with Dan Stone as your D partner. Talk a little bit about that, because that's a little bit of a change for you. Top line D pairing minutes for you and Dan Stone together.
Yeah, I love being with Dan Stone. He's a great hockey player. I mean, last year he went to Pensacola, I believe, their SP camp. Yeah. I have no idea how he didn't make it. He's a top defenseman in the FPHL every single year. He's Mr. Reliable, always there. And so I think he fits well with me when I'm a little squirrely out there and doing my own thing. So he's always got my back, and I've always got his back. So he has the reassurance that if he wants to go out there and play a little more offensive, that I've got his back. And just kind of goes both ways. Whenever one of us is feeling a little opportunistic, or I don't know.
You were close.
But yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah, if either one of us is feeling a little offense in our blood, I mean, the other one's got our back, and we're a solid pair on the blue line, and we both hate getting scored on and take pride in that. So, I mean, breaking pucks out as fast as we can and giving it to our forwards and just playing in the offensive zone has kind of been our game. And I think we fit well together.
And please don't take any offense to this. I don't think either one of you are going to put up the numbers that Dakota Bond put up the last couple of years. But here's the thing that I look at it is people are going to come into Binghamton now and know that the top pair is probably the most shut down defensive pair in the league. I think you guys can take a lot of pride in that. I'm sure it wasn't discussed, but do you guys, I mean, from what you've seen so far in the first, 5 games that you guys have played with each other, is it like shut down defensemen? And then if we can, break out and come in deep if we need to, great.
I mean, yeah, it never really was discussed. I mean, exactly what type of defenseman we're going to be or how we're going to play the game. But Stone and I both play the game really hard in the defensive zone. We both have active sticks. We break pucks up. We don't lose guys in the D zone, and we both have the ability to carry the puck. And so if we have an opportunity, we're going to take it. Sherwood always says if we have ice in front of us, take it. And if there's an opportunity to go score, he's not going to yell at us for taking that opportunity. So it's just taking care of our own end first. I mean, yeah, we're not going to put up Dakota Bond numbers. He was just passing the puck to Kirkby, and Kirk's was scoring on the power play. So I'd take 30 points away right there.
Fair enough.
Just off power play. But no, I always gave him crap for that. All his points came from power play. So if he ever listens to this podcast, he knows I'm still giving him crap.
Oh, Courtney will listen, and then she'll tell him.
Oh, okay, good.
But
I'm glad.
But the important thing is, in the first 6 games, the team is 6-0. Obviously, maybe not played their best game yet, maybe, but 6-0 nonetheless. And probably the true test is coming up this weekend against the Port Huron Prowlers. You guys obviously know. You maybe you don't know these numbers, but you guys have 74 penalty minutes, the least amount in the Empire Division, which is pretty crazy to think. But then at the same time, the Port Huron Prowlers have 279 penalty minutes through the first 6 games. They play a physical game. They just try to rough and tough it up as much as they can. What's your thought process going into these 2 games against Port Huron?
I mean, to start off, I'll agree with you. We haven't put together our best game yet. We've had glimpses of Black Bear hockey, but we haven't put together a full 60 minutes yet. So this weekend's going to be a true test. The Port Huron definitely is going to be eager and play their best game against us. So it's what do we have for them? We knocked them out of playoffs last year. I would have a chip on my shoulder if I was in that locker room. So, I mean, it is going to take a lot of resilience, controlling what we can control. We're going into their environment. I don't know what refs we're going to get. So, I mean, Sure was always saying we have to control what we control. And then we're going into this game. We're going to play a physical game. We're not going to get bullied. So he's setting us up for success, getting us in the right mindset. We know that this is going to be a real challenge this week because we can't play how we play against Watertown, cruise for 2 periods and then expect to win a game. So this is going to be a true test of us this weekend, and hopefully the better in us comes out this weekend.
Why? I said on the last show that your guys' best periods so far this year have been the third periods. I know you've scored probably more goals in the first periods than probably the third periods, but it feels like to me as a team defense concept, you guys have shut down teams more in the third period than you have in the other periods. Do you guys feel that as well? Do you guys feel like your third periods have been good?
I'd say, yeah. I mean, we haven't given up a ton of goals in the third period. We've been leading. So it's kind of one thing is not giving up a lead. We might have been slapped in the intermission by Sherwood through a crappy second period. And he kind of gives us a slap on the wrist. And so we're going out there and proving to him that we're not done and we got this. It might be a more simple game and people might just not be making the plays they're making in the first, but they're doing the right things. And so, I mean, that's what it kind of takes to win hockey games is having a good third period. But hopefully we can just string together a good 60 minutes instead of just a third period.
2 more thoughts for you. You guys got a couple rookie defensemen on the team, D-Raz and Lathlen. Do you feel like yourself you can go and help those guys? Have you I know they call you Lieutenant Dan and you run the practices when, Kirkby's not there, or at least the warm-ups before games. But do you feel like you can go to those guys and kind of like, you're only 2 years into your career. You're in your third year technically, right? But can you go to those guys and kind of help them become pros, better pros?
Yeah, I mean, those guys stepping in, our rookie defensemen, they're great. They're awesome. They're great hockey players. And anything that anybody tells them, they're open ears. They're great guys. They're listening to input from anybody. Coming from me, Q, Coach, Ando, Dan Stone, just any of those guys. Like, they look up to us, and like we respect them, and because they are good hockey players. And I think Scott Ramaker has been listening well. He's been playing really well lately, and he's getting great opportunities. So hopefully we can all just keep it rolling. And like, we got a solid decor. There's not one weak link chain in our decor.
Yeah, and I think all the guys kind of really play very differently. There's maybe some similarities here and there. Talk a little bit about, before I let you go, let's just talk real quick. You guys obviously have now an assistant coach who has NHL experience, AHL experience. How important has John Quenville been to you guys? How has Coach Q kind of affected this team a little bit?
He's definitely brought a lot of energy to our team. He's always excited to be there. You'll never see him in a bad mood. And if you have a question, he's happy. He's excited to answer your question and give you an insight on how you can be better, or if you want to watch film, he's there. And he's a great tool to have on the team. He's a great asset. His insights on practice, on how forwards should be moving the puck and how his defense should be retrieving pucks, just little things that'll make us better every day. I think he's been a great asset to the team.
That's awesome. Dan, good luck, obviously, this weekend against the Port Huron Prowlers. Bring us back 2 wins. That would be great. And maybe chip in a goal, if you can. Maybe do it for me.
Yeah, I'll try to bank one in if I have to. I'm definitely going to be shooting this weekend.
Yeah, do it for me. Just do it for Bob, that type of thing. That would be great. I'm like the little kid, going to Kramer on Seinfeld saying, can you hit 2 home runs to Paul O'Neill? And Paul O'Neill's like, no, I can't do that. You can't ask me to do that. And then he goes and does it. So just bang in a goal for me. I think the last time I talked to you on the show during the season, you got a goal shortly afterwards. So
I think you're right.
It's true. Right. I'm pretty sure it's true.
We
Dan,
talked about it afterwards.
We did.
Like, maybe I got to go on the pod every week or every weekend.
There you go. Dan, thank you very much for doing this. We totally appreciate it, and good luck this weekend.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. That was Dan Wieber. So now you've heard from the Port Huron side. You've heard from the Binghamton side. You've heard from us. But now we're going to give you our predictions on how we think these games are going to go. And Taylor, ladies first.
Truthfully, even though I did say that I was very nervous about this weekend, I was nervous about Friday's game. Mm-hmm. I honestly think that because of how disciplined Binghamton has been, and the fact that I know that we're going to be without some of the key guys this weekend, or possibly without some of the key guys this weekend, like Tyson or possibly Gavin, even Cam Servone might go on the IR. I think that's a great time where we get to see other guys who maybe haven't done a lot or haven't been seen that much step up and, make some great plays and really go out there to kind of show their stuff. That's one thing that I really truly like about, like, if somebody in the leadership team or leadership spot isn't playing on the ice, that somebody else has to fill that role. And it's usually somebody that you weren't quite expecting. So I am very excited to see that aspect of it. And with how disciplined that they have been, I'm truly hoping that, Port Huron puts themselves in the box. They get themselves, they hurt their team more than they do anything to us. And that we come out of this weekend with 2 wins just to show Port Huron that that's not the style that we play, and we're going to come out on top.
It's interesting because I don't usually do a lot of predictions here on the show, just because, it's like I could predict, like last year, if I predicted every single game and predicted a win, I'd only been wrong 6 times, right? I mean, that's it's silly. The Friday game is so hard. It's so hard to win when you're traveling to Michigan. We've seen it time and time again, going out to Motor City or going out to Port Huron. That first game out there is so tough to win. I truly, honestly think they split. They lose on Friday night and they win on Saturday. I don't think the antics help Port Huron at all. I think they just win a good defensive game on Friday. But I do think that it's going to be a split, and then the Black Bears will come back, because one of the toughest things is you get on the bus at 8:30 in the morning, leave Binghamton on a Thursday. You spend 13 hours possibly on a bus to get there, and it just takes 2 sleeps to get acclimated after being on the bus that long. So as much as I don't want to see it, and I'm hoping the antics with the Prowlers aren't as much as what, we've made them out to be in this show a little bit, right? I mean, their penalty minutes speak a story. They tell a story. We're all about saying we tell stories here on the Power Play Post Show of the players. Well, those penalty minutes tell a story about Port Huron. I'm hoping we don't see a lot of that, but I just have a weird feeling. We lose the first one, we win the second one, and honestly, it's the 7th game of the season on Friday, 8th game on the season on Saturday. I'm okay with that. It's the best start in Binghamton Black Bears franchise history. If that happens, I think you're a little bit more optimistic than I am, which is okay. I just see without Gavin Yates this weekend, it might be a little bit tougher to win, especially that first game.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I'm purposely choosing to be optimistic. I mean, and we've seen it happen where, Gavin's been out or Tyson's been out, and we've seen other guys step in. I'm just hoping that happens, and I'm hoping that we can bring a level of play to Port Huron that they haven't seen yet this year, and that it kind of throws them off their game. And I think that's what we would need to kind of throw them off their game and to just be able to get something in at them at home. Yeah,
you know what? I'll be okay eating a little crow and being wrong if I'm wrong. I'm completely 100% okay with that. But without a doubt, I hope that the Black Bears just come out of this weekend, with no injuries. And, if they have 2 wins, great. If they have 1 win and they split, that's good as well. Just get back to Binghamton. I know they have the Indiana Sentinels in a couple weeks. So it's going to be interesting to see how this, because I think it's the first week in November. Indiana Sentinels are coming in after the Port Huron Prowlers. So it'll be interesting to see. Everett Thompson has taken over the coaching for the Indiana Sentinels. He played here in Binghamton. He was the coach down in Baton Rouge, did a really good job for a year and a half with the Baton Rouge Zydeco. So I think the Black Bears just need to get through this weekend. And again, we'll see how it goes, but I hope everybody enjoyed this edition of the Power Play Post Show, just being able to get all the information that we're able to give you. And if you're one of the players listening on the bus all the way out there, at least we killed about an hour and 45 minutes of your time, which is good. I think EJ will have to drive into work about 4 times to listen to the whole episode. But EJ, if you get through the whole episode, there's a shout out for you. Thank you very much. But Taylor, I think we did a good job today.
Hey, at least EJ thinks that Mac Jansen looks like Chad Michael Murray with me.
I don't get it. I don't do those types of things. Like, I don't know. It's just,
he came out on the ice without his helmet on, and I couldn't unsee it. It just happened.
Yeah, and EJ said, yeah, he does kind of look like him. And then I'm thinking to myself, I don't even know who this guy is. You showed me a picture, and I still didn't know who this guy was.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It is fun. All right. The Power Play Post Show is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app. And don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Oh, excuse me. I just had a hiccup. Apologize for that. Search for the Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. We just hit 1,000 members. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey, visit binghamtonhockey.net. Thank you to Rob Lapolis, our MC, John Patitucci, our musical director, and from the Binghamton Black Bears, defenseman Dan Wieber, and from the Port Huron Prowlers, broadcaster Will Wiegelman. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And we'll talk to you guys next time right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Patitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.